Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, this debate is much bigger than fan fiction. This debate is about the evolution and innovation of fiction as a genre, and we told you consistently throughout, Speaker, that this can be best upheld when this is done under the banner of a collective. Whether the interpretation of that collective is multiple collectives or just one collective, the spirit and principles we stand for still stand. There are three reasons why our side takes this debate. The first is in terms of where are there really lower barriers to entry to create fictitious work, and why is lowering the barrier of entry particularly good? The first thing we tell you is that it's not just about fan fiction, because that's a large extent to what they clashed with, but we think ultimately it's not that big of an issue, because coming from my speech, I told you it subsumes the benefits of fan fiction and things like non-canon work, and the lens in which we challenged was that fan fiction is literally labeled as fan fiction, and this is constantly being compared to the legacy work. These things are scrutinized to being non-canon, not legit, and to a certain extent is just seen as a lesser standard. And their clash was that, yes, these things do still exist, and we don't question that. They can still exist, but we tell you the very reason why it was super controversial and super hard to be able to publish 50 Shades of Grey was because it was constantly being compared to Twilight. People referred to it as the bondage version of Twilight or sexually charged version of Twilight, as if Taylor Lautner's abs weren't enough, ladies and gentlemen, right? So if we really want more kinds of expressions, more kinds of work, this can best happen and be championed under the banner of collective, where we literally have less barriers. One, we talked to you about the capacity to be able to perpetuate this work and publish it, because it's not just about being able to publish work, which they questioned. It's also about the distribution, ladies and gentlemen. Being able to perpetuate and sell these things across different markets, and ultimately, it's just harder to do that even if you wanted to, even if you were inspired as a singular artist. Second issue or idea, where is there truly better discourse? Because we told you that there are many barriers in status quo that prevent certain work from being published. Some might be good work with potential, others might be kind of crappy, controversial, sketchy work. But both of which, best discourse can happen when you have more people being able to communicate with that. And we told you that the reasons as to why there's less good discourse on your side is because of things like the spheres of political and economic influence, which you get from my speech. Ideas that certain people can use their legacy and influence and reputation, the point in which they become popular and famous, and that's a point in which the fans, people who are all riled up and inspired by that, are less capable or likely to be able to challenge that, because now your voice crushes theirs. That's why the example Ella gave to you in her whip speech about J.K. Rowling and the whole controversy about the LGBTQ was because people wanted to push for those ideas, even if they were fanfic, but ultimately were squashed and said, no, that particular character does not fit that mold, they are straight. And we think that's ultimately a disgrace. You ruin the chance to have iteration. Lastly is on standing material, we have three. Firstly is on the economic and political enfranchisement, which got minimal to no response. The reason that these ideologies can be best scrutinized under the collective. Second is in terms of accessibility. The best we got was from the second speaker. We're in this borderline assumption about, technology allows us to do it faster and better, but no clear mech. And lastly is on the impact of discourse. We got buzzer beater responses and ideas coming from opposition whip, and we think ultimately this debate is bigger than fanfic. It's ultimately about the genre, and we best upheld those ideologies we want to perpetuate on our side. Proud to win this debate. Thank you for the cool round.